Hi, my name is Eleanor, and my boyfriend is a famous blogger. Do you want to know how I became his girlfriend, although I was just an ordinary subscriber? Then watch this video. Don't forget to like, link to your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Anyway, I used to be a simple girl who was not interested in social networks in general, ever. Can you imagine? I had little free time, as I was constantly doing something. Studies, cooking, and my favorite, running. I didn't run like a professional. I just did it for myself twice a day. I just loved it and got high when I ran. So I had guys come up to me. I made a couple of attempts at building a relationship, and then I realized I didn't have time for all that and quit. So that's how my 15th birthday went by. Then the 16th and 17th were coming up. My friend Diego, he's like a friend to me, if you know what I mean, got worried. Said that if I kept living like this, I would get overgrown with cobwebs, like I'll be cold as ice. Personally, I was fine with that prospect, but D insisted on his own. He showed me a picture of a blogger named Freeman. Yeah, he was kind of cute, but not much more than that. You don't understand. He's so interesting and cool. He has almost 500,000 subscribers, and you'll like him in person. Well, what makes you think that? Also, he's a blogger. Why would he meet me, a subscriber? He's obviously not bored without me in his life. Sometimes it's just worth a try. You have a great appearance and figure. Just buy a dress. Don't go in jeans or sweatpants. I'm comfortable. Sweatpants are for running and jeans are for studying, I know. But you can't seduce guys like that. Okay, that part we didn't talk about. Just, try it. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. Okay, go ahead. I don't know how, but D really managed to get us a date. I was even a little nervous, and I bought the dress as promised. This blogger and I went to a restaurant, and I acted like I'd never acted before. First of all, my shoes were terribly uncomfortable. Secondly, the dress was impossible to breathe in. And then there was the hair and the makeup, which made my whole face itch. I couldn't stop babbling about how long I had been shopping and sitting in the salon. As we were sitting there, some girls kept coming up to us, asking for a picture with him. I felt uncomfortable. They were pretending like I wasn't there, just giving me these appreciative looks. And it was so fucking embarrassing. We ate, he took me home, and we didn't really talk about anything. I could tell he was bored. Then when he walked me home, I was like, "Can I see you again?" Man, why did I ask that? I scolded myself. Phil smiled and said tactfully and politely that he was looking for another type of girl. What kind? I'm sorry, just another one. Well, what other type? I don't want to discuss it now, especially because you felt like the evening was a little awkward. I'm not trying to trick you, I'm sorry. He turned and walked away, and I was angry. It was my first date. I'd bought a dress and had my hair done, and those fucking heels. You guys all want other girls, don't you? I know what kind. With pumped-up lips and asses instead of a face. That's what you want. And then I slammed the door and bellowed for hours. The next day I told D about everything. He just covered his face with his hands and was like, "You're an idiot. You should have just been yourself." Then why the fuck did you make me buy a dress? I never wear them. I can't stand the shoes, the makeup. Because the first impression is important. And if you went to the resto in your pantaloons, they wouldn't let you in. Oh, Eleanor, you have a lot to learn. You know what? Fuck you and your advice. You can't find a boyfriend yourself, and you're giving me a hard time? I left him with a feeling of resentment. I understand that initially, I did not really want to go out with this blogger, but honestly, I actually liked him in person. And I really, really wanted to see him again. So I woke up a different part in me. It was like I became obsessed. I signed up online and began to track his every move, who he was hanging out with, where and when. I started to go there on purpose, as if by chance. I liked his photos and videos, and once I even fought with another subscriber for proposing a date to him right in the comments. I couldn't understand. What was wrong with him? Why does he seem so popular and straightforward, but at parties, he only hangs out with his friends? This point also interested me, and I was trying to get to the truth. How? Now you'll find out. The rest was easy. I'm smart. First of all, I skimmed his stories and carefully, very thoroughly, studied his personality and his permanent entourage. Then I went in and signed up to each of them and discovered 3 of his friends had girlfriends. And the friends' girlfriends were usually known to everyone. I subscribed to each of them, found common platforms where 2 of the 3 were sitting. It was a cosmetics blog. All I did was Google about creams and masks and somehow answered one about one and the other about the other in the comments. That's how our communication got rolling. Then I found out that they liked some coffee shops and went there often. And despite the fact that it was an hour away from me, I still went there and kind of accidentally met them both there. I joined in and we started chatting, first about makeup, then about boyfriends. At the 3rd or 4th meeting, I came in a bad mood. I shared that I was in love with this one guy, but he didn't have any feelings for me. Oh, what a shame. My boyfriend can be like that sometimes too. So cold and distant. I leave him alone then. Nothing compares to Phil. That's a good point. Who's Phil? A friend of the guy's. He's a sociopath, but he's a successful blogger. He's a sociopath and a successful blogger, though. And who's Christine? His ex? They broke up 2 years ago, and she left him, and he's still killing himself over her. Was she pretty? Not really. Not a model. Not a great figure. He just loved her, but she didn't love him. And he was obsessed with running. Running? Does he run? He does, in Central Park every morning and before he goes to bed. He runs like crazy. Should I introduce you to him? No, thanks. Oh, I've got to go. Okay, bye. I ran home, took out my sweatpants, which I forgot about long ago, and set my alarm for 7 a.m. Yes, I ran to Central Park across town to run with him. And so I ran for the 2nd hour. I had no energy left. I was sweaty in my wet pants and t-shirt. I smelled awful, and I didn't want to see anyone anymore. Then, suddenly, I saw Phil. He was running, and he didn't see me, and I wanted to run after him, but I stepped on my feet wrong, tripped, lost my balance, and fell into a pond. I yelled, and when I opened my eyes, Phil was sitting there all wet and lightly slapping my cheeks.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you breathing?
Huh? What? Yeah, I'm fine. I immediately thought to myself that it's a good thing I fell because you couldn't see my sweat. Did you save me? Hey, it's you.
Eleanor, are you okay? Should I call an ambulance?
No, thanks. I'm fine.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be on my way then.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. And then I pretended I couldn't step on my right foot. I agree, a stupid trick, but I didn't have time to think. Phil then gave me a ride home, and while we were stuck in traffic, I was happy about it for the first time in my life. And then we got to talking about running. Turns out we share a favorite thing. We're equally enthusiastic about it. I laughed a lot, and so did he. And when he gave me a ride home, it already felt like he didn't want to say goodbye.
Why did you wear a dress that night, if you don't like them?
I listened to my bisexual friend.
Oh, well, I think you look better in these clothes.
They'd look good on you, too. They're my dad's.
Really?
Yeah. And we laughed again. And in the evening, I got my first message. So we started communicating. A couple of days later, we met again. Only we decided not to go to a restaurant, but go to a picnic in the suburbs. And after that, we decided to go jogging together in the morning. So that's roughly how our romance began. Ask me about those friends, May and Rosie. I had to turn on my acting skills. A good thing they didn't figure it out. My boyfriend doesn't know about my story, so I told it to you in secret. As a side note, being yourself is so much better and cooler than pretending. Right, Dee? You bet it is, girlfriend.
Hello everyone, my name is Andrew. You can shower me with negative comments, but I want to tell you about my experience about how I met millionaires, how I did it, and what I did. By the way, yes, write your opinion in the comment under the video, subscribe to the channel, and put likes. I grew up in a poor family. I won't say that we were poor, but I wanted more, and since I'm too lazy, I didn't want to work, so I looked for easier ways to get money. I remember the first time, when I was 18, my friends and I went to a local club. There were just a lot of people there. We ordered a lot of things and didn't have enough money to pay the bill. So, my friends sent me in search of a rich girl to spin her for $200. It was a lot of money, considering that we only sat there for one night. I had no idea how to do it, but I had a plus in appearance. I did not look my age at all. I was given from the side of 20 to 25 years. Since I was on fun, I quickly agreed. Thanks to my tall stature, well-built body, in principle, I did not doubt success. And so it turned out. The first thing I did was go out on the dance floor and look around. There were a lot of beautiful girls there, but they all didn't look as expensive as I needed. I could easily appreciate the outfits, because I followed the fashion myself. This one has a dress for $7, this one probably rented it, and this one asked a friend, so. Oh, I found it, I thought, and saw the girl in front of me. She had money and expensive clothes, but she was so unsure of herself. She sat in the corner, drinking a soda on the rocks and looking at people, covering part of her face with her hair. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the first time she'd ever come here. I immediately realized that she was alone, so it was not difficult to glue her together. I danced casually, then walked over and sat down next to her at the bar. She liked me. She was immediately embarrassed. I took a sip of water, and then turned to face the dance floor. "It's a little hot in here," I said. She smiled and added, "Not the right word." And then everything was easy. It was enough just to start a conversation, from which it turned out that she was really alone, went to the club for the first time, and did not know anyone. I only showed the well-mannered side, spoke it, danced, bought a drink, meet the guys, and at the end of the evening she became so good that she asked to be with her again. "I'm sorry, we have to go, and my friend has already ordered half of the bar. I'll have to leave it instead of the bill," I said, as if joking. She immediately asked for the bill, took out a card, and ordered us more drinks. At the end of the evening, I walked her to her car, but she asked me to take her home, as she was unable to give up driving. Well, then the classics. A farewell kiss, a phone number, hugs, compliments. In general, Leah and I talked for about 2 months. During this time, she managed to fully dress me, took me to restaurants, gave me money for salons, a gym. She even gave me her car a couple of times and I was happy. I came up with a legend that now my parents are away and all my cards are blocked. I can't invite her to the house because I live with my grandmother. Leah was even touched that I was taking care of an old man. Maybe everything else would have been the same, but I got bored. I knew I wanted new adventures, girls, and I was already missing. What only Leah did not lure, she threw me a card money, more and more often gave me a car. And then one day, I screwed up. I borrowed her car and went out with my friends. I told Leah that I would stay at home with my grandmother in the evening. My guys offered to visit a new institution that opened in the city. I arrived there in new clothes, with a perfect hairstyle and a cool mood. Almost immediately, I managed to hook up with a couple of girls. No, they weren't rich, but they thought I was. But they had looks, a chic figure, and charm. I thought, why don't I relax today? I danced, kissed them in turn, and even planned to go to the hotel with them. Suddenly, Leah appeared behind me. She stood there, tearful, angry, and frightened at the same time. I was confused. I asked, "What are you doing here, baby?" She gave me a loud slap in the face, called me a goat, took the car and drove away. What, you think I ran after her? No, it was clear that sooner or later we would break up. It just worked out on its own today. Of course, the girls immediately moved away as soon as they found out that it wasn't my car. Well, whatever, I rested anyway, and then took a taxi home. The money that I was given by Leah was enough for exactly 3 weeks. Then I began to think what to do. I needed a source of finance, so I went to the establishments again. Only this time, I was determined to win over the older lady so that she would look after me even more, while at the same time, she would have little time for me because of work. And I found one. I met her at the pool. It was an elite pool, and I had to pay my last money to buy a subscription there. Fortunately for me, I went swimming there that day and almost immediately saw her, Marie. She was visiting, had a big business here. She jumped into the pool and hurt her leg. Without thinking, I rushed to save her. She was about 35 years old. She looked at me with gratitude. I did a foot massage, took care of her in every possible way. She fed me and thanked me, and then she offered me a ride home. I said that I couldn't go home yet, because a fictional sister and her children lived there. Marie didn't hesitate to invite me to her house for dinner. She had a chic mansion, a private swimming pool, and 5 cars of different brands were parked in the yard. The staff made us dinner while we sat and talked. I made it clear that I was not indifferent to her, and late in the evening she asked me if I was confused by our age difference. At that moment, I spun her around in a slow dance and then kissed her. Marie lost her head. She was single, and didn't even have friends here, just business. She also has no children, so I became her main and only person in her life. I managed to make her fall in love with me. And you know what? Marie gave me gifts I never dreamed of. Expensive watches, suits. She paid for the most expensive trips to spa, gave me cars. I could stay at her house as long as I wanted while she was at work or on business trips. It was gorgeous. Yes, I became a kind of Alfonso, but for some reason I was not a bit ashamed of myself, of my way of life. Agree. What's wrong with being loved and a person who has everything can just share it with you? I knew I should stay with her for a while, so I was a good boy. I did everything she asked for. Massage, brought and drove where needed. I also went to events with her, introduced myself as a friend, but my pleasure couldn't last forever. Once I came home after school very tired. We were supposed to take our college exam that day, and all I wanted to do was sleep. I ate, and I was going to lie down, but Marie called me. She asked me to go shopping with her. I packed up, grabbed my bag out of habit, and went to her. We spent a few hours shopping. I dressed up again at her expense, and then we went to her place. By the way, yes, she didn't know my real age. She thought I was 27. We got home and I went to bed. It turns out that while I was sleeping, someone called me. It was my mother. Marie tried to get out phone, and the contents of the bag fell out with it, along with my passport. It was then that she found out that I was still a child compared to her. I woke up screaming. "You tricked me. You're just a kid," she shouted. I didn't even know what she was talking about until I saw the bag. I didn't know what to say in my defense. I tried to explain that my feelings for her were sincere, but she didn't believe me. I wouldn't have believed it myself. She said that all I wanted from her was money, and I might get her in trouble, so she sent me away. Well, at least I managed to snatch a lot of things for myself this month. And then everything went according to the old scenario. I was again looking for a rich woman, quadrille, and pumped money. I live like this now, but do you think it's good or not?